Hey Internet, it's your old friend Dominic here with the All-American Casino Guide, a channel dedicated to providing you with all those tips, tricks, tutorials, and trivia that you could possibly shake a stick at. If you know this channel, you know we are all about Texas Holdem, and more importantly, we're all about late night poker, because there's nothing better than a little late night poker with friends. This video, I'm going to be focusing on the actual gameplay itself, thinking about a particular player's actions or whatnot. And hopefully you're going to be able to distill some information from my videos and learn to be a better poker player overall. So without further ado, let's get watching some Texas Hold'em. Here's the first hand. We got Kurakusan, Cinderella, Vendrick, and Cowpoke Kyle. All right, so Kurakusan sitting with Jack 10, Cinderella 2-9, not too good there. Vendrick sitting with Queen 2, that's a real bad kicker card. And speaking of queens, we got Queen 8 on Cowpoke Carl's hand. So Kurakusan's on the button. Cinderella is the small blind. Okay, Cowpoke Carl pays the 100. You got to do that because if you're not in it to see at least a flop, you have no idea what you have. So Cinderella folded her hand, which I understand she had 2-9, but she was already in for $50, and it's not like she's really short stacked right now. So honestly, I would have thrown the extra 50 bucks in just to see the flop, because you never know. The flop could have been like 999, and she's sitting with 4 of a kind. You trust me when I tell you this. I've been there. I've folded hands because when I was the small blind, and I just didn't want to throw in any more money because I didn't think I had a very good hand, and then it just turned into a whopper. Really, I don't really know why you would fold pre-flop unless somebody throws some crazy pre-flop bet out there, or like somebody goes all in, or you just have like 2-3 offsuit or something. I don't know. Okay, so the first to act is going to be Vendrick. He's got Queen High right now. He's got 3 diamonds. That's pretty good. He's going to check to Cowboy Carl, who's feeling emboldened by his pair of 8s. Okay, the price of poker goes up to 300 bucks. All right, so here comes the turn. It's a 10 of clubs, so no help there to Vendrick on his flush draw. The real big exciting piece of news here is that Kurakusan has now tripped up their 10s. So that's pretty interesting. And moreover, Cowpoke Kyle now has 2 pair, 8s and 10s. Now, when I have 2 pair and one of those pairs is on the board, I really don't feel that brave. Yeah, your hand did improve, but technically so did everybody else's. So I really don't ever get too excited about having 2 pair when one of those pairs happens to be on the board. All right, so first act is going to be Vendrick. Vendrick, what are you going to do, buddy? He checks, as to be expected. Cowpoke Kyle, what are you going to do? You got 2 pair. All right, checks all around. Wow, that is a real interesting turn of events. Here comes the river card, and it's the 10 of hearts. So that means that Kurakusan is sitting with friggin' 4 of a kind. And of course, Cowpoke Kyle, I don't know why I keep trying to call him Carl. Cowpoke Kyle is now got a full house, 10s over 5s. This is pretty exciting for everybody, myself included. I wasn't even in the game. So this is going to be interesting to see how they play. During the turn, everyone checked, so I'm hoping there's not going to be a whole big check fest here going on. Vendrick, what are you going to do, buddy? You got nothing. You got absolutely nothing. You got 3 of a kind, and so does everyone else. You check. Okay, Cowpoke Kyle goes in for 1100, 1180 to be exact. Kurakusan, what are you going to do? You're going to go all in, right? You got 4 10s. There's nothing that can beat you. All right, you're going to double the bet. It gets called, and they win 5,000. So here's hand 2. Let's take a look at it. Kurakusan, the big winner from last hand, has a pair of 5s. Cinderella sitting with Queen 6 on suit with diamonds. Vendrick's got 9-5 off suit. And speaking of off suit, post BB, I guess we had a player change here. is sitting with 7-10. Okay, so Vendrick's the small blind. Okay, buttons on Cinderella. So the first to act is going to be Carcassonne, who's sitting with a pair of fives. So what does Carcassonne do? $100, of course. You got a pair of fives. You got a pocket pair. Why not? Looks like everyone wants to play for. Everyone's throwing some tissues to Cowpoke Kyle. I swear to God, his name just changed a second ago. It's an ace of hearts, 7 of hearts, 3 of spades. Okay, nobody's packing hearts. So no flush hopes and dreams there. Cowboy Kyle just racked up a pair of sevens. So technically speaking, he has the best hand right now. So let's see. This is going to be interesting. I mean, there's an ace on the board. Whenever I see an ace on the board, I always get a little nervous, unless, of course, I have aces in my hand, and then I get real nervous because I get real excited that aces are strong, but I remember that aces can easily enough get beaten. So don't get too excited about a pair of aces. Just some free advice there. So the first to act is going to be Vendrick, who's sitting with a fat 9, okay? Pair of sevens on Cowpoke Kyle. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? He's going to bet 100. It's a pretty good feeler bet. It looks like everyone's happy with that 100. 100 all around. Yeah, everyone's happy with 100. Yep. All right. So here comes the turn card. It's a 3 of hearts. So now there's 3 hearts on the board and no hearts to speak of in any of the players' hands. So that makes 2 pair for Carcassonne, 2 pair for Cowpoke Kyle, a pair of 3s for Vendrick, pair of 3s for Cinderella. All right. No real help there overall. Okay. First act is going to be Vendrick. What are you going to do, buddy? You got a pair of 3s and so does everybody else. He's going to check. He's certainly not giving you an indication that he's got a strong hand. I mean, Robert doesn't really bluff too often, so he plays the good hands. But he usually gets a lot of good hands. All right, so Cowpoke Kyle bets 300. Carcassonne calls. Cinderella's debating if queen high. Nope, fold all around. All right, so wow, here comes the river card, which happens to be an ace. Which, of course, that makes me even more nervous when something like that happens if I'm in the game because I don't have any aces. An ace came, somebody's got like 3 of a kind right now probably, and it ain't me. So this is going to be interesting. It looks like aces and 5s, aces and 7s. Wow, it's going to come down to a really close amateur hand. Okay, so first to act is Cowpoke Kyle, who has got the hot hand right now. He checks. All right, I can respect that. The devil's bet. Carcassonne throwing 666 out. Let's see how Cowpoke Kyle responds to that. He's technically got the winning hand. So he folds. He lays down the hand. Wow. That's actually not too surprising. I mean, like I just said, when I see aces out there, I get real nervous. And specifically when I don't have any aces. All right. So hand 3 here. Okay, we'll take a quick look at everyone. Carcassonne has queen 3 offsuit. Cinderella 9-6 offsuit. Vendrick with the big hand, ace jack offsuit, and Cowpoke Kyle 4-7 offsuit. All right, so Cinderella's the big blind. She's got 9-6 offsuit. She folds. That's a good choice. Of course, Vendrick plays. He's got the best hand. Okay, so 6 of clubs, 7 of spades, king of clubs. So that's looking like pretty good for nobody, really. I mean, it's not really helped anybody. I mean, now everyone's got hands that are developing into something. I guess Cowpoke Kyle's got a pair of 7s, but when you see a king on the board, when you're middle pair, it's not exactly a super strong position. Okay, so Cowpoke Kyle has to make his decision. He's off the button, so he's got the first act. Bets 100. Nice feeler bet. Throws 100. All right, so the turn card comes. It's a jack. So that's certainly big news for Vendrick, who's now finally in the game with a high pair. And that ace kicker, it ain't too shabby either. I still would be kind of worried about that king if I was him, but obviously we can see that nobody has the king right now, so he's sitting pretty But what's going to be more interesting to see how he plays, keeping in mind that he didn't know what the other players had. All right, so Cowpoke Kyle is on the position to make the first decision. All right, so let's see what he does. He checks. All right. Kurkasan, I think you could probably take this hand with a good bet. Checks all around. All right, so here comes the river card, and it's another jack. That means that Vendrick's hand, he's tripped up his jacks. He's in a great position overall. The best position imaginable, in fact. All right, so this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, considering that in this three-handed game, Cowpoke Kyle is short-stacked, not by a lot, but anyway, Cowpoke Kyle, what are you going to do, buddy? What are you going to do? He checks. Kurkasan, check. Vendrick, please don't check. He checks as well. Wow, that's just sad. That is honestly just sad. When you have three jacks, I mean, I know there's a king on the board, but you're essentially gambling against someone having a pair of kings, pocket kings. And I would take the odds that you're not stacked up with cowboys pretty much any day of the week, especially based on how those players were playing in the flop and turn rounds. I mean, honestly, okay. All right, new hand. We got 6-queen on suit with spades for Kurkasan. Jack ace for Cinderella. Looks like she switched hands with Vendrick. Speaking of Vendrick, he's got 4-7 offsuit. That's a pretty bad hand. And speaking of offsuit, we got 6-8 for Cowpoke Kyle. Really, the best hands pre-flop are Kurkasan and Cinderella, which is ironic because they're the small and big blind respectively. All right, let's see how this plays out. All right, so it looks like everyone's happy with the big blind, $100, $100. Okay, Kurkasan limps in for the other 50. Cinderella's got an option. All right, so here's the flop. We have 2 ace jack. So that means that Cinderella has the top pair, the middle pair, 2 pair. The only thing worth mentioning here is that Kurkasan is sitting with 4 spades to a flush. The other players are pretty much drawn dead. This is interesting. Okay, so Kurkasan has the first option to bet. What do they do? What do they do? What do they do? What do they do? 200. I disagree with their decision there. If your goal is to just pump up the pot, 200 is a perfectly fine bet. But if your goal, and it should be your goal, is to get players out of the hand because you don't yet have the nuts, then you need to make bets that are actually going to intimidate people. 200 when the pot is at 578 or whatever is not really going to be intimidating people. Plus, that's like only like double the big blind. It's just not really that intimidating. All right, so Cinderella, how do you respond to that pathetic $200 bet? What do? You bet 978. I see your 200 and raise you another 778. So that makes the other players fold like origami. All right, so Kurkasan calls. A 7 of clubs. No help there for Kurkasan. No help there for Cinderella, who's still sitting with that 2 pair, aces and jacks. Kurkasan has the first option for the bet. No, it's going to be hard pressed to bluff at this point. All right, looks like they just check. Cinderella, you could pretty much take this hand right now with just a $3,000 bet. 2,000. There we go. Go for pot. There we go. And what does Kurkasan do? They fold. That's how you do it. That's how you go home with the glass slippers, Cinderella. That's how you do it. All right, let's take a look at this hand right here. We got Kurkasan with 7 ace on suit clubs. Wow, that's wild. We got Cinderella 7 ace offsuit though, hearts and diamonds respectively. The big blind is Vendrick with 4-2. Wow, I thought his last hand was bad. And then Cowpoke Kyle with King 3. Offsuit. Okay. So the first to act is going to be Cowpoke Kyle. I'm sure he's going to play the 100, pay the 100. Yeah, there we go. Kirkazan pays the 100. Cinderella is going to limp in for the other 50, guaranteed. Yep, there we go. Vendrick has an option. He should just hope to God. 3, 8, 7 diamonds. Okay. That's 3 diamonds for Cinderella. A pair of 7s for her and Kurikasan. Pair of 3s for Cowpoke Kyle. Okay. So Cinderella has the first option. She's got that pair of 7s. Let's see what she does. Checks. All right. That's pretty standard, I suppose. Check from Vendrick, who's got nothing. Cowpoke Kyle better check as well. He's got a pair of 3s, but maybe he wants to give that illusion that he is $100 bet. Just push that pot up a little bit bigger. And then Kirkazan raises to 411. Okay. Call from Cinderella. Vendrick folds. Cowpoke Kyle. Okay, so this is an interesting turn of events. Now a king comes at the turn, and that's why you should really, a hand is not over until it's statistically impossible for you to win. I mean, wow, that was an interesting turn of events, but the hand's not over yet. So now they have 2 pair, kings and 3s, which is doing pretty good. Just worth noting, there are now 4 diamonds in Cinderella's hand. So she's just 1 diamond away from a ace-high flush. That's interesting. Okay, first option to Cinderella. 4 diamonds to the flush. She checks. Cowpoke Kyle throwing in 1,500. Cinderella's got a tough decision to make. She folds. Looks like Cowpoke Kyle just intimidated everybody out of the hand. I mean, he did have the best hand at that particular moment, but that's how you do it. That's how you make an aggressive play that's going to get people out of the hand. All right. New hand, Kirkazan, Jack 7. Woo! Cinderella, you got a pair of aces, the pocket rockets. Okay. Vendrick, 3-9. Well, he's got some bad hands, just one after another. Speaking of bad hands, though, of course, we got Cowpoke Kyle with his 10-5. Wow, okay. Okay, first to act is Kirkazan, throws in the 100, not surprising. Let's see what Cinderella does. She should still play it cool and just throw in 100. That's just, no, okay, so $50. Yep, Vendrick's in. Looks like everyone's going to roll up the cards. 5, 10, 3. So Cowpoke Kyle pairs up that 10. He's going to have a pair of 10s now. 2 pairs, sorry, just notice 10s and 5s. Wow. All right. See, that's why aces are nothing until the river. All right. You really, just a pair of aces alone ain't gonna save you. In many ways, I prefer almost having an ace in my hand and an ace coming on the board, because at least then I have another card that I can potentially get a second pair or something like that. I guess if a third ace comes though, now it's gonna be 3 of a kind. Something to consider. Looks like Vendrick has the first option. He's got a pair of 3s. He checks. 2 pair to Cowpoke Kyle. He bets 400. That's about half the big blind, and it got Kirkazan out of the hand. Cinderella's got that pair of aces. 400 ain't nothing to her. She's big stacking it. The turn card is a jack. So that doesn't really help anyone. It would have helped Kirkazan, but they're out of the hand. So, okay, first to act is going to be Vendrick. He checks. Cowpoke Kyle. Bet another 400. Cinderella, how do you respond? 800. You double it. That's how you do it. Vendrick's out of the hand. He realizes Woo! Wow, okay, so there's a pair of 3s on the board now. So that means that Cinderella's got 2 pairs, aces and 3s, which is going to beat big man Cowpoke Kyle's 10s and 5s, and he doesn't even realize. So sad, so sad. So, Cowpoke Kyle, what are you going to do? You got that 2 pair, but 500. Oh, wow. Okay. She bets 1,000. He calls, and Cinderella takes all the money. All right, last hand, we got Kirkazan 9-3 offsuit, Cinderella 4-9 offsuit, Vendrick with the big AK. That's not on suit, but still a good hand nonetheless. He's really been struggling. He's been having some real bad hands lately, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays this hand, because I know this is the kind of guy he plays very conservatively. So if he does play a hand and he plays it, with a lot of chips, you should get out of the way of this guy because he's definitely got a winning hand. He knows his stuff. Cowpoke Kyle sitting with 5-3 offsuit. It's a bad hand, but it's not the worst hand I've ever seen win a big pot. So, okay, of course, Vendrick chips in the 100 for the big blind. He's in the hand. Okay, Cowpoke Kyle. This is really the question. Okay, he throws in 100. It looks like everyone throws in 100. Okay, so the flop comes out Jack 8-9. That pairs up Kurikasan and Cinderella's nines. No real help there for Vendrick. That's one of the reasons why AK is kind of a dangerous hand, because at the end of the day, it's just two really high cards. All right, so this is going to be interesting. Kurikasan's the first to act. Let's see, they bet 400, bringing their chip stack down to an even 10 grand. Pair of nines. Cinderella likes it. So does Vendrick. Cowboy Kyle does not. All right, so here comes the turn card. It's a jack. So now that's two pair. That is now a pair of jacks and a pair of nines. This is actually, at this point in time, this is technically, if this would be a split pot between Kurikasan and Cinderella. All right, so Kurikasan, what are you gonna do? 1,600. Okay. Cinderella, you gonna call? You should. It's a split pot. Oh, she folds. Everyone folds. Kurikasan wins. All right. Last hand. We have King 6 for Vendrick, King 10 for Cowpoke Kyle, 10 ace for Kurikasan, and a Queen 7 on suit with clubs for Miss Cinderella. All right, so who happens to also be the small blind, I see. Okay, so Cowpoke Kyle calls the big blind, so does Kurikasan. Cinderella limps in on the small blind, yep, okay, and Vendrick is got an option. He's going to roll it up. All right, so 10-9-4, that's pretty interesting. All right, nothing really too major right now. I guess it is worth mentioning that there's now 3 spades in Vendrick's and Cowpoke Kyle's hands. Okay, so the first to act is going to be Cinderella, who checks. I mean, that's to be expected. They don't really have anything. Vendrick sitting with, like I said, 3 spades and a king. Probably going to check at this point. I would. They did. Good. $100 coming from Cowpoke Kyle. He's got a pair of 10s. 300 from Kurikasan. That makes Cinderella fold. Vendrick folds. Cowpoke Kyle calls. 4 comes up on the turn. All right, so that's a pair of 4s. That's 2 pair for Cowpoke Kyle and for Kurikasan. But Cowpoke Kyle has the slightly better kicker. No, I'm sorry. What am I thinking? Kurikasan has an ace. They have the slightly better kicker. Got a little mixed up there. All right, so Cowpoke Kyle, what are you going to do, buddy? You got a pretty good hand. $100? That's pathetic. All right, I don't know why you did that. 1,300. How do you like that? They fold, and all the money goes up to Kurikasan. That's pretty fair, considering they had the best hand overall in the before they decided to fold that hand. So, guys, that's it for our review of these particular poker hands. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to leave them as a comment down below. And if you enjoy these late night poker videos and you want us to do more of them, make sure to clickety-clack that like button. And make sure to subscribe and ring-a-ring-ding, dingy-ding-ding that notification bell, because it'll inform you next time we upload another of these late night poker videos. And so you don't want to miss a single one. My name's Dominic. This has been the All-American Casino Guide, wishing you luck and reminding you as always, play responsibly.